From the moment you decide to actually move to Abuja, I just want to let you know that house rent in Abuja is not cheap, and it is the actual ghetto going house hunting in Abuja, because you would use 500,000 naira to get crap. Like, I mean, crap. It is the actual ghetto. Like, between Lagos and Abuja, I'm not sure which city has like the worst, like 500,000 naira worth houses. Particularly if you want to stay in town, somewhere in town between, let's say, Gwarimpa and AYA, and then down all the way to let's say Wuye and then Garki. These are the areas that I personally consider town. Anywhere other than these places are out of town, and they are being regarded as satellite towns, cities, towns like Boari, Duse, Inyanya, Karu, Lugbe. Those places, I personally regard them as out of town and as a satellite town. When you're looking for a house, the first set of persons you're going to be dealing with are the house agents. And one of the first questions the house agent is going to ask you once you call in order to find a place is, what is your budget? And like I said previously, housing in Abuja is actually really, really expensive. And if you're going to be finding, or you want to move to a house in, you want to move to Abuja, I would advise that you quickly sort out like your finances, and you quickly decide how much it is you want to spend on a house, so that the house agent in no way would be able to coerce you in taking a house that is way above your budget. Because somehow when you call to ask, like, let's say you need a self-contained in town, let's say not too into town, not Wuse to, let's say Gwarimpa or Wuye, they would try to convince you to, let's say, the house, and most times the average self-contained in these places are between 450k and 700,000 naira. So if you're going to be staying in either one of these places in a self-contained, when you tell the house agent, let's say 600,000 naira, ask your budget for finding a house, the house agent quickly would tell you, oh, I don't have a house for 600, but I have a place for 650 or 700, knowing that he takes 15% out of the actual rent for himself. Like, you get to pay an extra 15%. So if you're going to be paying 700,000 naira as the actual rent, then like add another 15%, which is about 105,000 naira, goes to the house agent. 5% being legal fees, which nobody actually takes, and then 10% being his agency fee. So you're going to be paying, give or take, 805,000 naira on first hand. Also adding the fact that most houses in Abuja will ask you to pay something they call caution fee. So the caution fee most times is so that in case you're like, while you're living in the house, in case you spoil something, they will use the money for caution fee to actually fix it. Particularly when it's an amenity within the house there, they would use the money to fix it. But if you're living and you everything is still intact, they would usually say the money is refundable. Although I don't know about, I'm not too sure if they actually get to refund the money. Nigerians and money, most times you can't get money paid to a Nigerian from their hand anymore. Anyway, then also you would also be paying what they call a service charge if the apartment is a serviced apartment. Most houses in Abuja would claim to be a serviced apartment, particularly if the house is in town. Serviced apartment means that you're paying for a service charge, usually covering waste disposal, generator, and then security if the house is in an enclosed space, let's say an estate or a crescent with a gate. So they would ask you to pay a service charge. Or if the compound has like a security guy or security guys, they would ask you to pay a service charge. So the service charge is also like non-inclusive to the rent. So once you pay the 700, you pay the caution fee, usually about 100,000. You pay the 15%, which is the agent's fee, and then the legal fees, and then also the service charge. Altogether, give or take, for a house of 700k, you end up paying at least 900,000 naira in total. So you've agreed on what you want your budget to actually be, the next thing you're going to consider is the agent's dues. So apart from like the agent's fee you're going to pay when you eventually get the house, while you're still looking for the house, when you get to meet the agent, the first thing he's going to tell you is that he collects an agency fee in order to show you houses for between 2,000 naira and 5,000 naira. So this is like the first time you meet the agent, you're just going to pay, and then he'll keep showing you houses till you find the one you actually want. Then after you've paid the agency fee, then you have to consider like the location of the house. So after you've paid the fee, the agent will ask you, what part of Abuja are you most likely going to stay, or do you want to stay? So you have to put into consideration where you work or where your business is, and maybe relations or something. So if you're going to move to Abuja, there are really nice like localities. There's Wuse too is like the hub of Abuja where everything happens. All the nice places are all at Wuse too. So if you're moving to Abuja, Wuse too is a really nice locality. Asokoro is also nice, but also very expensive, including Maitama. Wuye and then Gwarimpa are like the go-to for usually for single, just starting life people who want to stay in town, because they are like the parts of town that is not as expensive as the rest part of town. However, if the amounts I've been calling so far seems far-fetched to you, then you consider staying in localities like Kubwa, Buari, Duse, or Lugbe, Inyanya, or Karo. Then you also have to take into consideration certain things that I think is personally important: the accessibility of the house to like a major road, light, do they have constant light, or how frequently do they have light within the locality? Then water. Some parts of Abuja have to rely on the water board for supply of water. They have to buy water. So they pay like monthly water bill as part of their utility bill. So you have to also put into consideration that. Then your security bill. I just said that you pay a service charge. So most likely your security bill, if at all there's security, particularly for the compound, will probably be in your service charge. Then the basic background of the landlord. Like personally, I would want to know what my landlord does for a living, where he stays. Does he stay in the compound? Does he stay with his family in the compound? Or does he stay out of town? And if he stays out of town, how frequently does he come into town? Or does he come to Abuja? So that is also what I would consider. Are there other tenants in the compound? So if the other tenants, how many are they? What they do for a living? Very important, because you do not want to be staying with criminals in the same compound, because the day that EFCC, NAFDAC, NDLEA would come and raid the compound, you might just be picked as a suspected criminal as well. So you have to ask. Then a findable address is really important to me, because I wouldn't want to stay in a place where I would have to come and pick people from the junction in order to bring them to my house. I would want somewhere that when I'm writing my address, I can just put number 25 da 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 street off da 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 road, full stop, like put the locality, and that's all. I wouldn't want to be saying, oh, when you see a big tree you stop here, this is like the closest landmark, like all that plenty talk. I would want to avoid it, so I want a findable address. Then pets, you have to ask, are pets allowed? Can I have a pet? Does the landlord have a pet in the compound? These are like my top tips for apartment hunting in Abuja. I hope you like, when you're going apartment hunting, make sure you eat, make sure you carry like a bottle of water and then some spare money for yourself. So just in case you get hungry or tired or something, you can call it a day and find something to eat or something like. And most likely I feel like if you're going apartment hunting anywhere, you should actually go with a friend for like a second opinion, because sometimes your tiredness, your frustration, and your desperateness can make you take an apartment you end up hating. And if you pay for a place, it's for an entire year, so you wouldn't want to get somewhere that you actually don't like. And if you're going to be going apartment hunting, make sure that where you're staying currently, you're not under any stress, or you're not under like any form of pressure to actually move out, so that when you're getting a place, you get what you actually like. All right, guys, this is what I have for you today. I hope you're going to find this video really helpful. I would see you again next week when I come your way again with a totally new content. My name is Winifred. Thank you so much for supporting my brand and for engaging my content. I do not take it lightly. I get to say this like every single video because I actually mean it. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you again next week. Cheers.
This is the master bedroom. This is the toilet.